my 2 cent. My name is Paul Emerson, and I'll be giving you my 2 cent. So I've been actively engaged in running 2 miles for the last 2 years, every 3 days, training for a 100K run. With all the adversities that I've been dealing with in life, I changed my 2 cent brand. First, I turned my 2 cent into a brand. It was always just about making a channel so I could be sociable when it comes to science and philosophy. Over the course of the years, I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now, and I've never been able to keep up with the streams because of the adversity of life and being an African American living in America. I rebranded into what the current state of my 2 cent is now. And then after dealing with the military for 6 years, I just decided, like, fuck it. Let's just have a genuine conversation about racism in this country, systemic racism, and how it negatively affects everything that happens in this world. And I get tired of people saying, "Oh, you're always wanting to complain about racism. It's not a big deal. Why don't you just get over it? Why don't you just stop complaining and take accountability and responsibility for yourself?" So my goal has been to show how to actualize what it is you're trying to do in life and make up plans and set good goals so that you can achieve the things you're trying to achieve without screaming out and praying to a God, especially a Jesus, because white men are not gods, and worshiping a white image of a white man so that you can achieve objectives is retarded. Why would you put a lot of energy into doing something for yourself and then give credit to a Caucasian man? So to each his own. If that's how you feel, then you can feel that. For those of you that are on this channel because you want to have a deeper understanding about the way life works, that's my position. You can have your position, you can adjust and modify, you could change, you could abstain, you could agree, you could disagree, but that's my position. And that is the platform that I will be speaking from. So I got up this morning like I always do, not wanting to go out there and do this 2 mile run. I'm looking at the clock like I got to work, I got all this other stuff I'm trying to do. I'm trying to write. I had to stop writing when I have maximum flow state and all that stuff to stop, to be able to regulate myself and micromanage every second so that I can get over the adversity of discrimination, racism in this country, to be the person that I'm trying to be and not constantly fall into the category of what society thinks I should be so that they can do what? The question I always ask is, how does me being a nigger benefit the whole of society in general? How does America benefit from the 40 million African Americans being subhuman and not getting access to good health care, high quality of life, and then having to show up and work jobs under capable? Like, what is the goal? What is the end game goal? What is the justification? What is the reasoning? Like, that's the part of this whole conflict that everyone wants to adjust. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. So when I started my run this morning, the very first thing that happened after I got out of my car, I put my music on and I'm chilling. I'm listening. I'm gonna explain it from my perspective, and then I'm gonna run the video back. I'm chilling. I'm running. I'm not even running. I'm just getting ready to run. I haven't even started my clock, because I get out of my car and I walk to my starting point, and then I stop at that starting point and I walk back to my car. So as I was doing that, some random person, I think he was Hispanic, it doesn't really matter, he was a human being, male, and as I'm walking down the street, he's shouting and yelling or whatever. I don't care. It really doesn't matter. I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. I'm out here in the streets at 2 o'clock in the morning, minding my own fucking business, being my own person, being a normal civilized person, actualizing my ambitions in life. And so as I'm walking past him, as I get close enough to him, he says something to me, and I kind of ignore him because it's like, it's run day. I need to go run. I got a 2 mile run. I need to be done so I can get ready for work, all that stuff. He says something to me, I ignore him. He says something else to me, I ignore him. Then he reaches out and puts his hands on me. I'm like, hey, don't touch me. I don't need you. Like, because I'm trying to maintain my homeostasis, my mental state, so that I can achieve the goal that I'm trying to achieve, right? So I just kind of brush him off and I start my run like I always do, every 3 days, same time, same everything. So as I'm running, for whatever reason, the audio on my phone go out, and then now I'm not listening to music anymore, and I'm just running down the street, and then eventually I get to the quarter mile. And once I get to the quarter mile, I'm like, you know what? This is boring. I need music. So I turn my music back on. I finish my run. I get home. I get in the car. Hey, welcome to the stream. I hop in my car, and then I bounce back to where I am now, to my house. I need to get ready for work. So I turn on my recording to see what he said. And this dude called me a nigger twice. And the reason why I didn't respond, mostly because it really doesn't matter. And the reaction that you give to that energy is kind of like a social reminder, like that shit's not okay. But the reason why I didn't respond is because I didn't hear it, right? So what he said was not relevant in any way, shape, or form. It goes back to what my father said about if someone tells you that you have $1 million in your pocket, it doesn't put $1 million in your pocket. His words didn't change the person that I am or what I'm trying to achieve. It just it's a waste of fucking energy, right? It doesn't achieve anything. He put his hands on me. So then, like, if I wouldn't have my headphones in, I probably would have reacted the way my step would have told me to. If anybody calls you a nigger, you're supposed to attack them and beat them up and hurt them because it's not okay for people to talk to you like that, which is fine. I was a kid. She understood the dynamics of the world better than I did, and she understood that young white boys will vibrate on that energy. You being passive to Caucasian men is what reinforces their psychosis and their psychotic behavior to want to hurt and kill you. The reason why Caucasians kill African Americans, the reason why they lynch us and murder us is because they understand that a person that is dead cannot defend themselves. So they hurt you, and then to cover up the fact that they hurt you, they kill you. And it's not a complicated thing to understand. And they have an entire society designed for that. It's fine. You can call me a racist liar because I have the video footage. And I'm going to play the video footage in a second. But the whole point of what I'm saying is these are the steps, right? Because the My 2 Cent Foundation is based on how do you get to where you're trying to go. So this guy, he confronts me, he puts his hands on me. If I wouldn't have had my headphones in, I probably would have punched him in his fucking face because I've been conditioned from a young person to do things like that and respond in that way. But with the headphones in, which is why they were functioning the way they were supposed to be functioning, to distract me from the bullshit of the world around me so that I can stay focused and achieve my goal, which is what not having to deal with the bullshit racism every fucking day is about. Every goddamn day you get up and you drive down the street and you get harassed because of your skin complexion and your hair texture because they want to put you in a category you don't want to be in. How do I benefit from it? You explain to me how I benefit from being a fucking nigger, and then maybe I will accept the terms and fucking conditions. Explain that shit to me. Explain it to me. Because it doesn't make any sense. Because it doesn't make any sense. There's no need for it. It's not necessary. In 2025, we've overcome the limitations of resources. There's enough resources for everybody. Everybody can achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve. None of that stuff is relevant or matters anymore. So what is the long-term goal? What is the point? Right? So this is what we're going to do. Because I have to go to work. Assuming that it's ready. So, me singing, it's just gonna have to be a thing you're gonna have to deal with. But here's the evidence. This is the whole point of how science works. This is what objective truth looks like. It's about a minute and a half. Headphones. Listening to music. Mentally getting prepared to achieve my goal and actualize what it is I'm trying to do. Not talking about what I want to do, but actually getting ready to do it. I'm listening to Luke from the coil.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I
I
can't hear
can't
you.
hear you. All right now. Hey, don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me.
So let's run that back.
Hear you. All right now. Don't fucking do that shit to me, nigga. Hey, don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me.
Right? So this is always how this works. This is always how it works. We're minding our own business. We're not antagonizing. We're not being threatening. We're not engaging anything or anyone. We're just out chilling, living our lives. We get approached. We get disrespected. We get harassed. We operate from our rights as citizens of this country to operate in a defensive position. And then the person that engaged us lies to the police. The police racially profile us and add us to a statistic so they can continue to lie, exaggerate, and get people socially conditioned to continue to engage in the same patterns of behavior that constantly create the conditions that allow racisms to exist. What about Asian hate? All hate is not acceptable. That's the point. There's no such thing as race. Everybody on this planet is African. So that's not the point. See, the point isn't what he was or who he was. The point is, if I would have punched him in the face for what he did and the police would have pulled up, they would have asked me questions, they would have asked him questions, they would have arrested me because I am an African American. That's kind of the point that I'm making. The only reason why that didn't go out the way it's supposed to is because the My Two Cent Life System is what I'm focused on. And because I'm focused on the My Two Life System out there with a strong objective and my desire not to give a fuck about what people have to say because your fucking words don't have any fucking power, don't change shit. So in the space of I can't hear what he's saying, I responded objectively to the reality of, hey, don't put your fucking hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. There's no reason for you to be physically touching me right now. But him physically touching me with racial slurs would have resulted in me fucking that dude up. Because what am I? I'm still just a human. At the end of the day, we're still going to react and respond to our own impulses. And our inability to regulate and control who we are is why we have the adversity we have in the world. And the point that I'm trying to make, because I know you're not going to get it, is that if I would have been in my rights to defend myself, I still would have went to fucking jail. I still would have wound up with a criminal record. I still would have went to prison for defending myself, which is within my rights as an American citizen, because there was no reason for him, whether he was a crackhead or not, to walk up to me, tell me that I was a fucking nigger twice, and put his fucking hands on me. And the moment that you and your brain try to figure out how I'm wrong is institutional racism. Because you shouldn't even be doing mental gymnastics to try to justify what you just saw. There's no need to try to figure out how can I prove that black people are inferior so I can maintain my position of being superior. So I don't need to move to a stand your ground state because it doesn't fucking matter. You're not listening to the way that racism works. It's my word against his word in a corrupt system that will automatically charge me. That's the point of how institutional racism works. This is the reason why you can have video footage of an African American being strangled by a police officer for 4.5 minutes while bystanders stand around and watch this happen and nobody reacts or even makes an effort. This is why these things exist. And the reason why I'm saying this in the context of my 2 cents is because your generation, if you were 18, in 10 years, you'll be 28. Y'all should start getting y'all mental shit together and not engage in the same fucking bullshit that my generation engaged in. Don't do what my parents did and don't do what my generation did. Fix that shit. Fix the shit. Because you keep saying, young people always say, well, it's this, well, it's that, blah, 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 blah. And then when you find yourself in that situation, you spent so much time bullshitting yourself that by the time it's your turn to take a stand, you become compliant and complacent and fall into the norm. And you just continue to perpetuate the same bullshit. What I'm trying to say is don't do that. Him putting his hand, okay, him calling you a word isn't grounds to hit him, but him touching you could be. But again, once he's off, you can't keep attacking. But you're missing the point. The point that I'm making is that as an African American, if he calls the police on me, they will still arrest me. I will still get charged. I will still have to go to court. I will still have to defend myself. I will still have to be subjected to racism. This country only works when the person in a position of authority is not a racist white person. The moment that you find yourself in the institution surrounded by racist white people, institutional racism happen. Oh, you're here because of some accusation that was made against you, but I don't like black people, so let me prosecute you and make your life difficult so I can maintain my statistics. My statistics. I grew up in a high school around African Americans, and I was told certain things that I believe are true. And now that I'm in a position of authority in my 20s and in my 30s and in my 40s, and I see how if I do what I'm expected to do, I don't get anywhere in life. But if I fall in compliance with a institutional system of racism, then I get bonuses, I get time off, I get privileges, I get paid praise, I get appreciated, I get admiration. Let me do that instead. Let me just lock up Specialist Emerson, who has no priors and has never done anything wrong, because someone walked up to him, called him a nigger twice, and put their hands on him. And even though he is an American citizen, and even though he does have the right to punch this dude in the face, because he did that, let me hurt him. Right? That's the whole point of what racism is. And the Righteous and Life system is like, hey, these are the things you can do as a young person to get from where you're trying to be to where you're trying to go. And that's what I'm outlining. There's nothing to argue. There's nothing to fight. There's nothing to defend. There's footage of me raging the fuck out on people. There's footage of me raising the fuck out on police officers. There's footage of me on my channel of me walking into the police precinct like, hey, quit fucking racially harassing me. Quit racially profiling me. I'm not about that life. Right? That's the point I'm trying to make. My capacity to be a human being is just that. I am a human being. I should be treated a certain kind of way. It takes the same amount of energy to be respectful as it does to be disrespectful. It takes the same amount of energy for him to disrespect me as it would have for him to say hi. And guess what? If he would have respectfully said hi to me, he still would have got ignored because I was in my own zone doing my own thing. I don't have any obligation to acknowledge or address you as a person. My obligation is to respect your space. Your obligation is to respect my space. That's the way society is supposed to work. That's what makes society functional. The whole point of why I'm recording this video again is to illustrate how objective reality works versus what people say as subjective. None of the subjective things that people have said about African Americans have been empirically proven correct tonight. None of that shit. All of the bullshit that you hear and see on TV that didn't, you know where I live? Vancouver fucking Washington. Portland fucking Oregon. What is Trump doing right now? Sending out ICE to do what? To raid people's homes and collect up all of these races, minorities, and all that. You see what happened? Nothing fucking happened. What makes me a victim? How am I a victim? How is anything that I just described the validation of me being a victim? Okay, but you have to realize that I have on headphones, and it's normal nowadays for people to walk around with headphones in their ears. So if you say hi to somebody and you can clearly see that they're singing, you don't get offended. You recognize that, oh, this person's got headphones on and they didn't hear what I have to say. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty normal to realize that this is not a time to be being cordial and respectful. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. So why am I being cordial and respectful? There's no need for it. So your positions are fine, but I live in Looneyville. You are a victim. That's fair. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but the reality is what the reality is. Like I said, these videos are just to illustrate the dynamics of the world, how things actually operate. And since I know the platform is built on that, is built on racism, it's like, well, you know what? I might as well take the time to discuss this. What people say when people say the things that people say actually don't matter. The things that people do matter. That's the I think I need to make sure that that's clear, because what he said doesn't matter. What he does matter. That's the reason why nigger is a bad word. Not because it's a slur, but because African Americans were hung, lynched, raped, boiled alive, skinned. Um, we had our wives raped and our children molested in front of us, all so that they could create uh, a mental state that allowed us to be docile to being treated unfairly and unjust in a racist system. And they reinforced all of that with that word. And that's the part that the average person don't want to understand. All of the crimes against humanity that was done against African Americans was justified legally with that term. That term legally makes it okay. It you know how you can go get a hunting license to hunt certain animals within a certain season? Nigger is your hunting license against the African American in America when it was okay for African Americans to be hunted, when it was okay to call a herd of African Americans. That's the part that nobody wants to understand. Everybody wants to get on the internet and cancel people and rage bait and all this other stuff. But when it comes to having a legitimately honest, open-hearted, genuine, philosophical conversation about the reality of the world that we live in, y'all can't be adults. You can't be an adult. And I don't mean just 18-year-olds. I mean just in general. Just in fucking general. The average person is not capable mentally of handling the weight of this stuff. And then it just keeps spiraling out of control. That's the reason why I'm making my 2 cents. Like, you're on here justifying why it's okay for this guy to say a racial slur to me twice and put his hands on me and trying to get me to understand how I'm wrong and I'm a victim. When all I did was what I've always done for the last 2 years. I've got all of the video footage of what I've been doing for the last 2 years. I have all of the objective empirical evidence of it. So at what point does it become normal? At what point do we normalize this stuff? At what point do I stop having to be told that I'm a black person and that I need to be a tap dancing coon and a janitor? At what point? So that I cannot make enough money to function in society and then get put in prison for fucking what? For what? If you can put me in prison and you're willing to pay for my room and board in prison, why can't you put me in a house and pay for my room and board in a house? Why? Why make that shit make sense? So that you can do what? So that you can save some money on making some product and export it to some country to undercut their citizens so that they can't make a livelihood for themselves? Is that what Caucasians want to do? Is that what Europeans are all about? In 2025, is that the goal for white America? To do what? To have a few hundred people that are content and happy on this planet when billions of people are suffering? And then have enough control and order around the majority of the people that are suffering so that they fight each other instead of just coming over and taking the shit that they created? You think Elon Musk is building rockets? No, he's not building fucking rockets. He's just taking credit for the work of hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people under him and getting credit and validation for labor that people are doing. But you want to sit there and be like, oh, he's great. He's great because of what? Because he lied, cheat, exaggerate, and steals? Because he puts racism on the internet? Oh, Grok is this great AI because it's honest. It's not honest. It's just fucking racist. Hi, welcome to the stream. So there's no honesty in it. It's just perpetuating the idea that white is right and non-white is wrong so that they can create a system of inequality. And everybody believes that one day they'll get their chance to be at the top of the inequality. Like you're going to win the lottery and be able to be part of the inequality. That doesn't make any sense. That's the reason why I started my 2 cents. Because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense that if everybody was comfortable and had enough, but nobody could have luxury, wouldn't that make more sense than a few people having luxury and a majority of people not having enough? What's the better trade-off? Which one's the better trade-off? You get the opportunity, you grow up without enough with the possibility of being one of the few people that can have luxury, knowing that the vast majority of people don't have enough, or nobody has luxury and everybody has enough. Which one is the better trade-off? So that everybody can have enough and nobody has luxury, we have to stop thinking in the terms of white and black. We have to get rid of the idea of race so that politicians can't divide us and separate our numbers so that they can cater to corporations and business people that have millions of dollars that can lobby against the interests of the people so that they can do what? So that they can have luxury while they stand around and watch the rest of the world not have enough. So I'm at 0 views, which means that I have made my case. As always, my name is Paul Emerson, and I've given you my 2 cents.